没
and
事，
you
也
go
许
to
可能
temple,
说
your
像是
parents
一
say
个孩子一样，
do
然后
this,
呢，
do that,
你在庙，
and you do it.
你是孩
And
子，然
then
后在
when
庙
you're
里
an
面，
adult,
然后
someone asks you,
就告诉
why
说
did
你
you
做这
do
个
that?
做
You
那
say,
个，
because my
然
mother
后
told me,
有人就
or this
问你，你
teacher.
为什么要这么做呢？然后这
But
孩子就说，他让我
if
这
you
样做的。
understand what it means,
真的，你知
then
道
it's
它里
you're
面是什
taken to
么？
a different level.
因为如果你要知道
So
呢，
who
你
is
为什么
God? What is your relationship with
你
him?
得知
What
道
is
的话，
that name? How
在
do
一
you
个情
mean?
况，比如说，
Well,
当你知道了
so
神是谁，然后呢，他的名字的意思是什么，
you
然后还有
study
他
these
的
things,
是
learn
什
these
么，
things.
那如果你要是去研
And
这
then
个是什
also, when
么呢？
we're meditating on that,
另
you
外
have
一
to
个就是
understand why
在
we're
冥
doing it.
想的时
What's
候，
my
你就
motive?
会
What am I
明
trying to
白
get?
我为什么要这么
What's
做，
the end
我
result that I'm
是
trying to
什
achieve?
么，然后最终呢，最
So
后到一
the
个
end
什么，
result of meditation is purification.
那么对
It's
于冥想最终
overcoming our
结果
lust, anger, greed, and
是
so forth,
要
coming
有
closer
净
to
化，
God, like
让使
devotion.
我更加的近的
So
近神，更加近
when our
的
meditation is motivated
爱之情。
by
所以
the
说
right
呢，
desire, then it
那所以
produces
呢，
the right result. You can have the right mantra and the wrong
我们
motive.
我们在冥想的
And
时
you
候
know,
是我们的愿望所
you
求。
can chant a mantra that might control the universe. You
我
know,
说
I
呢，
want
我
to control it. I want to be
唱
God
我
and
们
control
mantra
everything.
去控制整个
And you
有
can
宇宙。
chant God's name
我们
for
也
that
可以
purpose.
神的名
So,
字，以这样的目的而
so
去
the
唱诵。
motive should be to advance spiritually, and that should be your prayer when you're
应该
meditating.
是通
Come
过
closer
唱
to
我们的
understand what God is,
冥
who
想
God
的
is.
mantra，来让我们能够更加的净化，更加的去接近
Of course,
神。
God has many names, and
当
names
然
all
是很多的
designate
名字，
nature. So that's
所
the
以
point.
那所以呢，这是一个非
Of
常
course, you
好
can study your whole life to understand.
那我们可以用一生的
But
经历研习到底神的名字的
God
意
is
义
a
是什么。
person, we're persons, and we
真
have a
的，神是
personal
个人，
relationship.
我们是个人，我们大家
Like you have a relationship with
是
anybody.
人格性的，就好像我们和
And
任何
that
人的
what
关
he
系。
wants is our love.
真的，神他希望我们
And
的
that
爱，
love, it's like it's
但
contained, it's contained within us, and then it comes out for everything but him.
爱它是有延展性的，它是
Like
有
that
感染力的。
affection we have, the
当有
things
了爱
we
以后
like,
呢，这个爱它
we're
就会
attracted
感染
to,
到身边的所有的
things
一
we
切。
focus on. It's like
那
all and everywhere, but we miss him.
那么
So we
当
try to do a little meditation to focus on him. But then at
所
the
呢，
rest of the day, the focus is on everything
我
else.
们专注于
When
他
you go
的时候，
back to meditate, it's
呢
like you just
就会让我们扩展到其
undid
对
your meditation.
事物的深
If you go
情。
back to
当
meditate,
我
you go,
们
it's
再回
harder
到
to
对
meditate
的
because the
时
whole
候，这样
day
就
I'm
会
like
进入到更深的
not
冥想
thinking
中。
about him. So the
但是呢，
meditation is
在
meant
冥
to
想
bring
冥
that
想
consciousness
我
through your
们
day.
就会想着他，
That
然后呢，
I
会
am for his
学会
pleasure.
专注他，
I want to serve him and
然后就会
overcome
让
my own self.
我想要
selfish.
服务他，
Is that
是
okay
我
for
的
now?
这个直觉都会专注于他，是这样的。
Yes,
好，
you're welcome.
Governments have, sometimes in your books you've written about, we need to be begging Krishna to come closer to him and to accept us. But we're also meant to be, praying and trying to get into the mood of serving him while we're chanting. Can you talk a little bit about how those things can exist together, petitioning for something and also serving at the same time?
It's very seamless when our identity is I'm a servant, then there's no conflict. It's when false ego is there,
当
then there's a
当
conflict.
我在那里的时候，
Because if I am situated in
就会
the
说
consciousness
我
that I'm
处
servant,
于
so that just
这
pervades
种
everything.
我是一
It's
个
the
仆人
foundation
的
of
直
everything.
觉里面，
There is no other relationship.
然后呢，会没有其他的关系，
Everything else is
当
founded on that
他
relationship.
的一
So
切
anything
当
else
在这个
you would
关系
pray for or ask would be
发现
within
的
that
时候，
context. But I
那
always
我们
understand my
会在
position.
那样的意识下去，
Unfortunately, we don't always remember it, right? And so
但是
if we
可能
lose connection with that identity, then
其
we
实
adopt a different
没有时
identity.
刻的想着我们是这样
Not
的身份，
servant,
有的时候呢就
whatever.
偏离于这样的身份。就是我们没有时刻在想我们是神的仆人的这样的身份。
Also, another thing to understand is
那而
we
且
have
有的
so
时候
many emotions, and
我们
so
有很多
therefore
情感，
so many emotions can be connected to
有
Krishna.
很
So
多
one
的
day it's
情
please
感都
accept me.
会和 Krishna
One
相
day
连
it's
接
let
在
me
一
serve
起。
you. one day it's like,
比如说
"Lord,
今
please
天
help
我
me. I'm
我挺
attracted
想
to
我
your
挺想
holy
服
name."
你，那另外一
And
种
so
第二那种情
I
感就
wouldn't
是
see them as
我
necessarily
帮你，
having to be all the same and kind of
其
work
实不
together
一
because
定就是我们所有的这些
different times
情
we
感
feel
它总
differently.
是处在一
Something's
种
more important for us. And something you pray for this week may not be important next week. Then it's okay.
那有的时候，比如说我们在
You
这一个
got
星
what
期
you needed
所
this week,
向神所
and
祈
it's
祷的
not
一种
important.
主
So
题
go on
和
to
下一个星期所
whatever
祈祷
else
的
is
是不
important.
一样的，那么这
And
也没有，然后
my personal realization is that
我自己
whatever
的
I pray for, it's all kind of the same thing.
无论我向神祈祷的什么，其实
Become
都
a
好像
better devotee, to become more
我总是
pure,
在祈祷着我要成为一个
be
更好
more
的奉
servant,
献者，能
to
够更好
develop
的
love.
净
So it's
化，
kind of like it's woven into anything
就好
I
像就是
would
我祈祷它
feel and
编织
want
在
to
所有
feel
的一切里
and
面。
ask for. But you don't have to be so, you don't have to be,
你
japa is not an analytical process. If we get too analytical, then
我们有的时
we
候呢
go
就
in
不
our
需要
head.
太过于的去分析，
And
因为我们
according
去
to
分析
Ayurveda,
太理智。
your mind is
有阿育韦达的说法呢，
wherever you go, that's wherever your mind takes you, that's where you
是
are.
我们的心意把我们带上哪
Or if
里，
we're
那
chanting and then
会
we're
去
like
到哪里。
contemplating these things, then
所以
we're
说
not
呢，
really
当我
chanting
们
anymore.
在念
Or
诵的时候，
contemplating how to chant.
我
We're
们
not
应该
chanting.
影响的是
Like
如
a
何
lot of
去
people contemplate doing
让自己
something
的
that they
心念
never
去
do.
想着其他的所有的这些事情。
And they have magazines about it, and they make plans and they never do it. So we don't want to be like that about chanting.
所以呢，就当我们在念
So
诵的时候，我们的这个心念就不要去想着其他所有的那些事情。
I don't know. Did that answer your question, or just,
那
there's so
就
much
要
to
是回
say,
答你的
which we
问
will
题。
say tomorrow on Sunday. Yes.
所以听不清楚是听不清楚我说，还听不清楚咕噜的声音。
for 15 days. And when I was doing japa there, it was so much easier.
Yes.
And I stood there, how do I do that here?
You go into a closet in your house.
后来就说你
It
你在
locks
家
from
里
within.
看一
That
下
is soundproofed. And in that closet, there are only pictures of Vrindavan.
，OK，
And
就是
you sit there
有的时候我们的这个心里边有好多的这种
16
声
minutes.
音，怎
You
么样？然后
know,
我们就到这个把家里边的一个大衣柜打开，
if
然
you
后呢，
understand a
用自己
little
的
bit
观
about the
大衣
nature
柜
of
里
the mind,
关上这个大衣柜的门，
then
里边
the
什么都没有，
consciousness that you need
然
to
后呢，
chant
里
well,
面只有
you
文
start
达
to become you become keenly aware that
唱
all
诵
these
音乐的时
distractions that
候，
are current
我
in our lives
们
now
就
are
能
really
够
undermining our ability to focus when we chant.
其实我们在
Because
念诵的时候，我们其实可以意识到我
Or-
们没有太多的能力能
our
够非常
phones are huge
念诵，
distractions.
因为有
And I
各种
would, maybe this is already done, but I would guess
是的，
if
或
we
者
look
这
at
个
scans
会
of people's
搁到一
brains
块儿，
today
这
and
就变
scans
成
of people's brains 50
大
years
部分
ago,
痛苦，
I
所以
think our brains are much more
包括
scattered now because of social media. It's all this like 1 minute this, 1 minute that. It's like hard to focus because you
那就
focus
比如
for a
说
minute after the Hare
社
Krishna.
交平
How were your
台
japa? Well, the first
上
minute
现
was
在的
good,
情况，然后我
but
们的
you know,
这个
I'm kind of trained
这
up
个
by
这个
Instagram, and
注意
and
力
so
就
I
可
can only
以
focus for a
这个
minute.
一会儿看那个，一会儿看那个，就很难让我们专注在一件事情上。
And we're all trying to do a lot, and the internet has enabled us to do infinitely more than we could have ever imagined. I mean, it's good, but it's like there's so much at our fingertips, that we can be doing. And so when we're going
What-
from this to this to this to our phones, this to this to our phones, yeah, then we try to sit down and chant. That's also part of the problem, which you didn't have
对，
on
有
purpose.
次呢，就是我们在互联网上会看各种各样的事情。
Right?
我的声音不可能比咕噜声音
Okay, so
大，
I think
声
the
音比咕噜声音大
conclusion
了，
of the Japa workshop this
咕
weekend
噜的在
is we
说
should
什么。
all take our phones, we'll build a big fire, and we'll throw
所
them in the
以
fire. And our Japa will automatically
还有另外一种办法，就是等咕噜这课上之后，然后呢，我们再把咕噜的课给翻译过来，那样可能会听得比较全一
This is
些。
something I'm going to talk about this weekend,
他
which I
的确
want
是弄
everyone
着
to think about.
我也弄
But
着挺不好意思。
we don't live in a world which makes it easy to meditate. We live
那
in a
我们
world
现在
that
呢
really
是
undermines the
在一
sanctity.
个世界，这
It
种世界
undermines,
有
it
各种各样的
alters the nature of our
也
minds in such a way
真
that
的
our minds
没有办
are
法让
not
我
in
们
a good
非
space
常
for
好的
chanting.
专注。
Because to chant, your mind has to be very
因
peaceful.
因为呢，就是
Very
当
soft.
我们在念诵的时
And
候，
so
我
like
们
when
的
we go to India, we go to the holy dham and we're
空闲下
just
来，但是呢，这个是非
chanting
常
and hearing and
微
serving.
的。
Then our mind's in an optimal state for chanting, and it's very easy. And so
让我们的心意
what
我们在念
happens for a lot of us,
念
what
很
we're
很
doing
难
is
让自己完全专注在我
we're
们的这
living
个
very
声音，
passionate lives,
因为
and
就
we're
是
living,
我
or
们可
maybe
能过
doing
着
things which we
非
shouldn't
常
be
积极
doing,
的
which
生
are not
活，
conducive
为
to have this
做
sattvic
更多的
peaceful
事
mind for
情，然后
chanting.
呢，
And so
我们
then we
就
go and chant, and we're
把
trying to
所有
control our
的
mind.
心念处在一个
Like,
sattvic
wait a
善
minute, that should have
性的状
started
态。
a long time ago, not just when you sit down and chant.
但是呢，其实我
So,
们让自己的心念
you
变得善
know,
性的
what
状
was
态的
I
时
doing yesterday?
候，我们在念诵的时候，让自己的心意变得善良属性的
Was
下来。
I living in a more sattvic way? Did I become
应该
angry with someone when I should have been nice?
安静下来了。
Did I buy
对。
something that I didn't need?
那比如说昨天
Did I
我还
spend
想
time watching
跟
something I
我
didn't
人
need to
生气
watch,
了，
or
或
something
者是我
disturbing?
花时间看了一些我不应该看的东西，或者
I'm
是
going to
我做
sit down and
一些
chant,
不应该
and
做的
my
事
mind
情。
just, it doesn't,
跟
my
今天咱
mind,
们
it
说的
doesn't want to
做的
just
这些事
sit
情，
and
一天
relax
还
because
在
it
我们
hasn't
的
done
内
it
心
at
里面
all
在
the
搅
last
动。
24 hours. It's not used to that. You know, like more as we know, those of us who are older, we know more and more. For many
比
people,
如
it's hard to
说，
sit down and read.
当我
They'd
们
rather just hear and be entertained, watch a video, learn it, you know. I mean, that's okay, but the mind is like, it's not coming down to a state where I can just,
就
when
是
I chant,
我
this is
们
all I
的这
hear is the
个心
chant.
念，它在我们念诵的时候，它就没办
That's
法
a
让
big
自己
problem.
降到一个非常的让我们
So
的
in
心
order
很
to
专
chant
注
the
的
way
一
you
个
did in
状态。
on Parikrama in India and all the holy
就比如说，
places,
当我们在印度进行
doing
绕
it
法，
in America, which is one of the most materialistic countries,
我们在
maybe
念诵，
not
我
in
们在
this
印
in
度
this
一边
world,
做
but
着绕法，
maybe
一边念诵
all
就比较容
worlds,
易一些。但是
all
当我们在
planets.
美国，在这么一个非常喧嚣的
It's,
地方，在念诵的时候呢，它其实就是有
it
很多东西。
requires a little work.
那所以呢，就需要我们要更加努力的
Part of
让
that
自己。
is doing it early in the morning or being
那
in
其
a
中
sattvic
一个努
environment.
力的方式呢，就是要清晨早起，
Part of it is being able
还
to
有就是
put everything else in your life out of focus. So it's
就
not,
是把所有的其他的一些
you
东
know,
西
it's
都先
not
从我们的
important.
心念的专注点上先给推出去。
You're chanting japa and that happens, right? You know, when I was young, you said, "Oh, I forgot to tell my mother something in India," right? What do I do? It's like,
那
write
比
a
如说，当
letter.
我在念诵的时候呢，我在想，哎
It's
呀，我忘
expensive to make a
跟
phone
我
call.
在印度的
1970s,
妈
make
妈
a phone call to
那说
India
些
was
什么事儿，
it's like
那这会儿我
$5
该怎么办
a
呢？我
minute
是
or
给他打
something
个电
crazy,
话吗？
wasn't it? $3
那
a
这会儿
day.
我的这个脑子就
But,
开
you know,
始
you don't make those. That's reserved for emergencies. Right? Oh, I forgot to tell my mother something. I write a letter. When will I write the letter? Later. Not,
那或者我就在想，哎呀，我
saying,
忘
I
了跟我
forgot to
妈
tell my
说一
mother.
些
Get
什么
my
事
phone
儿了，
out.
我要不然就写封信，
That's the
或者
environment.
写
So
这封信。
if you allow yourself to live that way, where it's
所以
always
说
like,
呢，
oh,
如果
oh,
你要是
like,
让
like,
自己
oh,
允许自己以这
rather
样的
than, you know,
生
plan it
活，
out and I'll do it later.
你总是在
Then
想
when
着
you
有件
chant,
事儿没干，然后呢，我晚点再去
you
做这
just
件事儿。
you have not trained your mind to be in a state where you
那我们其实就是让我们的心意心马由
so
缰
now
的
you're
在
trying to control your
那个，
mind
并
after
没
you've
有
trained
再去
not to
控
do
制
that.
和训练我们的心意。可是现在呢，我们在
You know, it's
做的
like,
事情是努
what did
力
you have
的
for breakfast?
的心意。
Pizza, ice
嗯，
cream, and
我
cake. And now I'm
你
going to the
吃早
gym.
餐吗？
But
会说
doesn't like
哦，
that.
我吃了披萨，我
And I
喝
go
我
to the
吃。
gym every day and I'm still not healthy. I don't understand. Well, you have to go to the gym just to get to zero to burn off all the sugar and
为
white
为什么
flour.
我在想，我天天都在念诵，可是我
So
现在
it's
怎么
something
还
like
是没有念到一个好的
that.
程
It's
度？
something to think
或者
about.
说我天天都在做治疗，可是为什么我身体还
Again,
一直
for a
没
lot of devotees, you know,
我
japa, then it
必须要
becomes something you just try
要
to
开
fit in
始，
your busy
就
day.
是就是
If
在
you're
每
trying
一
to
点
fit
的时候，
japa
我
in
必
your
须
busy
要做
day,
这件事
I
情。
can guarantee you you're going to have extremely difficult time
如果要是我们
focusing
每
because
一
you'll
天
be
都能
thinking about
够
all the
插一
busy,
个时间进
busy
来
things
去
you have
念
to
诵，
do.
那如果要是假以时日，那我相信，我敢保证你也是能够取得进步的。
If you want to know what life was like when I was a kid, watch TV shows from the 1950s, like these family shows like Leave It to Beaver and Toby Gillis and all these other ones. It's like so entertaining. You won't even, but what they show on TV, that's what the families are like, you know, same in India. It's like, there was a commercial for like some cereal. So it was like black and white, you know, 1953. And the family was sitting down, they were all having breakfast, you know, in the morning.
就比如说在50年代的时候，
And
一
it
家人都在
flashes
吃
to
早餐，然后一边看电
today, and it shows the kids running in the house, grabbing something, throwing it in the
视，
microwave,
就是今
running
天
out,
的
you know,
这个，
everybody. And it was
然后
like, you know, you need something to cook that's fast because everybody's busy and fast. So this is exactly what's
可
happening.
是可是在
We're
现
all
在
busy
呢，这
doing
个
things.
已经不是这样的状
We're
况了，
trying to do more
所有的
and
一
more
切
and
都
more
变得非常的快捷，然后孩
because
子们也
our
在那儿
computers can do it and our
乱七八
phones
糟、
can
熙
do
熙
it.
攘攘的，再从
And
再
I don't
从
think it's
oven 就
healthy.
是这个炉子里面把
Less,
那
you do it better.
快热的这个东西拿出来，
But
然后
it'll
彼
be
此机
something to
相
think about.
逼着玩着。所以说呢，就是在之前的那种慢节奏的那种
Yes.
生活已经没有了。
It only makes sense if that's the only way you could do it. It's like you go to the doctor and the doctor says, I need you
如
to
果
eat this,
去
this, and
看
this.
大夫，
And you're like, I could
然后
never do that.
大夫跟你说，
He goes,
呃，
okay, then eat
你
this
这
and
辈子只
this.
能
But
这么做
the
了。
other thing he's
然后
giving
呢，
to
你
you
觉
is
得
not
这
really
个
what you need,
做不
but
了，
it's at least it's not as bad as what you're eating now. So you know, it's like you'll get some little effect from doing that, but
那就
not
好
the
像
full
就是
effect that
当
you
你
could.
做某件事儿的时候，你从中得到了一点
It's
点
quite
的
simple
效
to
果，
do.
然后这会儿你就会觉得你被说服，
Ideally.
就可以接着往下
So
去。
the thing is, we're supposed to be in
所以
meditation.
那所以就好像我们在冥
So
想，
what do you meditate on the subway? All the
我
other things.
们所冥想的这个主
Or
题
maybe you
是，
meditate on if they're looking at me chanting.
我们在
Or
冥想着
whatever.
什么事情，或者是当我
But
们
I
在
mean, you
动的
could
时候，
do
我
it.
们
It's
也
not
在冥
ideal.
冥想某一个事物。
It's the only way and the only way you have time. If you go to work at 4 in the morning, come back at 11 at night, then go to sleep when you get back, and that's the only time you have to chant, what can you do? But I mean, that's another point. If I want to practice spiritual life and have time, a sober, focused time, I can't be working 18 hours a day. I have to live, I have to, you know, reduce things so I can have that time in the morning and enough time in
我
the
当我
evening to
正常
wind
念诵
down,
的时候呢，我可以
get
让
to
自己
bed
变
early
得
and so
更加
on.
的冷静下来，然
A
后
lot
呢，
of
我可
times
以
we're trying to do spiritual
自
life,
己
but we're living
花
a
一些时
material
间，然后
lifestyle.
不去做任
And
何
it's
的物
really
质的事
difficult.
情。那所以有的时候，当我
We
们在
don't
进行我们
allow
的
the
灵性
time.
生活的休息的时候，就使得我们物质生活这一
We're
方面
always
呢，
trying to
就
do
变得
more,
先
get
安
more,
静了
see
下来。
more, have more, be more. If you look at social media, it's like all the ads are like, you can
在
have this, you could do
看
this, you could be doing
社
this.
交平台的话，
I
那我
look
们
at
就
those
会觉
ads
得
and I
说
think,
必
I,
须要
I
去
say to
做
them,
这些
I
事
don't
情，
want to
一
do
会儿
that.
要这个，一会
I
儿要
don't
那
want,
个。
I'm a devotee, I have Krishna, why do I need that?
但是
But
我
you
们
could
在
have
想，
this
我
Amazon
既然是
business.
这样的一位奉献者，我为什么还需要
Well,
社交
then,
平台上所给我的这些东西呢？
what am I going to do during japa? You know, do my Amazon
比如说，
business.
当我们在进行 japa 的时候，也会是这样的一种
So
心
now I
理，
have $1,000 a
会
day and no
被
Krishna. What was the good of that?
不会被
I'm
社交平
a
台上的
poor
继续
man
填
and a fool.
然后，如果要说
So
我今天有了$1000，可是我没有
it's
Krishna 知觉，那这$1000对我来
it's
说还有
it's a very simple
所以呢，
idea.
这是一个非
If
常
I
简单的
if I
概
am
念。
going to practice spiritual life,
我
my
要
material life
修
has to
习我的
support it,
灵性
not be
生活，
antagonistic to it. And
然
sometimes
后
it
呢，我
is
要让
antagonistic.
我的整个这个
But
生活
I'm
去支撑
I've
我
been
的
working
灵
so
性。
hard and doing so much, I don't have time for it. I don't have
那如果要
quality
是
time.
非常忙碌的去做很多其他的事情的话，那我就
So
没有
these
时
two
间去
things,
进行灵性生
consciousness,
活。
have the right
这是
consciousness
我
and
们
the
的一
right
种
time
直
and
觉，
the
我
right
们必
amount
须
of
要有
time.
正确的知
Then you
觉。
can do it and it works and it's not that difficult. But if we don't, we kind of fighting the process because we're not
呃
getting the full benefit of the process.
但是如果我们要是没有去遵循这个
So
程序的
we're
话，
kind of
或者
in
没有
both
好好
worlds,
的去做这个程序，
fighting
跟
the
随
material,
去的
trying
话，
to get the
那
spiritual,
么我
not
们
really in either one
就
that well.
没有很好的利
That,
用这
that's
个
a
程序
really
从得到它的。
unhappy state to be in.
那如果要是真是这样的话，那我们可
If
真的
you're
就
going to
处
be in
在
my, at least do it in
开
style.
心的状态下了。
But, you know, if you're trying to be in Krishna, but you're not really, and you're half in mind, half in Krishna, then you kind of don't have either,
但是如果要是我们努力的想要
isn't it?
有
Something like
Krishna，
that.
但是呢，并没有让我们的心念
So
专注在
the way I look at it, it's kind of
就
like
没有办法得到
a
它。
disservice to ourselves. We're trying to get something, but we're not really doing it well enough to get it the way we want to get it, or how much we need to get it.
就比如说我们想
How
要得
much
到
of
某
it
个
we
东西，
get.
但是我们并没有竭尽全力的想要去得到这个东西的话，而且我们并没有
So
好。
the idea is to chant in the place where you can focus.
那所以说呢，
Hear, pray.
那所以说呢，我们在念诵的时候，是我们自己要营造一种去
You know, sometimes the devotees chant in the car. They chant while they drive. And so they're chanting while they're driving, which is like if you're in the middle of nowhere, it's not
一边念诵。
difficult because you don't have to concentrate.
那这会儿，
But if it's trafficy and you're driving around, it's hard to concentrate. So when a devotee's chanting,
但是这会儿呢，
When it
他
comes
是
to
无法
traffic
专注的，
and
因为他必须
I
要
say to them, I
要
say,
注意旁边的这个行车。
you think you could do puja, like get some deities and put those deities on your dashboard, and while you're driving, you know, do. Like,
那有
do
些
it
奉献者，
and
他会把
prayer.
神像放
They
在
immediately put their feet
这
back
个
up
汽车前面的这个面
because
板
they
上，
realize that, you
对，
know,
他
to
可以一
actually
边开
worship
车一
properly,
边
you have to
给
focus.
神像做铺着。
They
但是
can't
后
focus
来
because you're
意识
distracted.
到他是没有办法真正一边开车一边做铺着的，
So,
因为没
you
有办法
know,
让他的
it's
注意
like,
力
so
集中
just
在
think, if you
身
have the
上。
question, is it okay to chant here and there? Just say,
那
could
有
you
时候
do
这个问题
worship
就
your
是，
deities in that
那
situation?
你是不是可
And
以
you
一边
focused on
做
it.
这
And if
事
the
儿，
answer
就
is
是
yeah,
这
then
一
okay,
天找
very
点
good.
这个闲暇的时间来念诵，掐空来念诵呢？
It's a
这
pretty
其实就
simple
跟
test, right?
我们是不是能够一边开车一边做铺脚是
Yes.
一样的一个道理，就是要专时，还是要专时专
You
用。
can ask anytime. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Question was in the level of bhakti. Yes. Krishna touched your level of bhakti, and that was the whole point. He's testing you.
I don't know. Well, my personal
我自己
realization
个
is
人的觉悟是，
we're always being tested, even when we don't realize it,
我们其实总是在被斥责着，
because
基本上都没有意，
every interaction
因为每一个
we
互动，
have with another person
我
or
们和另外一个人的
situation
每一个互动，在任何一种场
provides
都会
an
给我们
opportunity
机
for
一
us
个
to
机会，
react,
让
and
我
we
们
can
去进
react in all
行
kinds of ways.
反应。
So
所以
even in a good situation, you're going to
这是
react.
一种好的
Maybe
良好的
if you're
状
in a
况。
really good situation and you think, oh,
当
this is
人处
great,
在
everything's
好的状
fine,
况
I'm
下，
happy.
我们就会想，哎呀，这没
You
不错，这
kind
挺
of
好，我
just
开心。
become very slack in your spiritual life because
然后这会儿
everything's
呢，你可
good.
能就会去懈怠你的灵性生
Why do
活
I have
了。
to try?
你就
That's
在
a kind
想，
of
哎，
test.
我也不需要去努力。那其实这也是一种
Nothing's
试
gone
炼。
wrong in my life. Everything's great. I'm very satisfied. Okay, that seems good.
那
But in a
因为
sense, it's
是
a test.
当一
Am
切
I
看起来
forgetting?
都很
You know,
好、很
I'm
美
getting
好的
tired,
时
I'm
候，
getting
这
old.
其实是一种试
Am I
炼，是
taking these things for granted?
那
And
就会
every
在
negative situation
想
is
当然
obviously
的
a test.
去
How are you going to
接
react?
受、面对所有这一切了呢？
I just heard something this one teacher said. He's not a devotee, but he's an American.
有一个人
and
他不是奉献
He's
者，他在
got
美
an
国，
Indian guru.
他
And
得
he
到了一个
studies a
guru，
lot of spiritual teachers, and he said, you know, whenever you're in an argument
然后呢，
You should always tell the person
他就说，
that's in the
就是
argument with you, and said,
每次在争论的时候，
whatever,
你都要跟这个
whatever, but I just
说，
want you to know that I offer my love and kindness and compassion to you. So that it's like it always ends the argument.
就是无论
But
无
that's
无
the
论
way you can
问什
react to
么
an
样的
argument.
最后
So
在争
every
论的
argument's a
结束
test,
的时候，都
every
会说，就
disagreement's
是
a
我会
test,
献上我的爱，我的
every red light's a test, every old lady who drives in front of you on a freeway at 20 miles an
所有
hour
的
is a
彩
test.
虹旗，所有的小孩儿，所有的任何的一
Every
切
time your
对我
wife
来说，
doesn't
其实都是一个
smile,
试炼，都是一
it's
个
a
考验。
test.
那所以呢，我们应
So
该创造
I
一个机会，对
I
他们
think
微
everything's
笑。
a test.
那所以
Of
对我来说，我认为
am I
所有
going
的
to
事情，
react in a way that I've learned, I've been taught
就比如说我
in
对于任
scripture
何一件事
by
情的反
Guru,
应，
or how am I going to, I think you're referring to like obviously like bigger tests.
那我想你可能每次都说的
Bigger
是，
tests may come
可能
also,
指的是
but
大的试
I don't
炼，
see
大的
them as tests. I see them as the Christians just trying to
我觉
like
得我们
wake me up.
大的考验，但是我想，我当面对大的考
Or
验的时候，
Krishna's,
会把
if
它当
there's a
成
big
考验，
test,
会把它认为
it's
是
like,
会是唤醒我的机会。
sometimes in relationships you have opportunities to show
当
your
我们
love.
在机会中，我
Sometimes
们
your
是有
love
机
is
会
tested.
来
By some
像
situation,
就是
your
来展
wife
现
very
对
sick,
对方的爱的。比如说你
and
的
you
妻
have
子
to like
很
everything
厉害，
you wanted to
然
do
后呢，
that day, that
你
week,
必
that
须要
month,
做所有的事情，
is
然后这会儿
thrown
你想去做这些
in
事
the
情，
trash because you got to 24/7
垃圾
take care of her. It's really a test of your love.
就是一整天都在照顾
So
他。那其实这
I
就是对
I
你的爱，
personally
对
see
他的爱的一
the
种
big
考验。
tests that Krishna sends us
那
as just opportunities to show Krishna,
所以说
do
呢，
I
当
love you or
给
do
了我
I
们的
love
这个考
myself
验的
more
时
than I
候，
love
这
you?
是给我们一个很好
That's
的一个
all.
机会，向 Krishna 去
So
展示
maybe
Krishna 我到
you're
底爱
feeling
你的。
like Krishna, you're really testing me. You're like
嗯
putting all these temptations in front of me.
那 Krishna 他真的是在考验
And
我，所有
the
的这
way
些诱
I
惑
think
在我
is
的
that,
面
oh
前。
Krishna, you're allowing me to show you that
Krishna
I will choose you over
你
these things,
在
even though I like
爱
these
我，
things and I've
然后
always
呢，
wanted these
你
things and
向
I
我
dream about
展
these
示所
things
有的这
every
些诱
night.
惑，但是呢，
But
也
now
要
you
让
put them in front of
爱我。
me. You've given me
然
an
后呢，
opportunity to
那
show
现在
you,
你
do
把
I
这些
love you more
事
than
情
these
都放在
things?
我面
That's how I
前，你
look
给了
at
我
it.
这么一个
So
机会，让我
I
来
look at it
抓住
as
这个
a,
机会，
more of
然
an
后呢，这个
opportunity
机
to
会
show
来
Krishna
展
our
现我
love.
对你有更多的
And then
爱。
every time we do that, Krishna is
每
more and
次
more pleased
当
with us.
我们
And
在
he
这样
gives
去
us
面
more
对
and
我们
more
的
of
考
his
验的时候
blessings.
，Krishna 就会越来越被我们所取悦。
And we're happier and we make
然后呢，
spiritual
我们就
progress.
会
And
更
everything
加
gets
的
better.
开心，然后我们就会变得
Is
更
that?
加的
So
平
like,
和。
I don't want to lose the opportunity.
因为我在想，我不想
If
失去这
Krishna
个机
puts some
会，
big
因
temptation in
为
front of me,
Krishna 他虽
I
然说给
say,
我
thank
放了
you,
一些诱
Krishna.
惑在这儿，
This
然后
is
我就会
just a
说谢谢
chance for me to
Krishna。
show you what I made out of. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
所以说
I'm
呢，
not going to
就
do
感
this.
谢你给我这样一个机会。
You're too important to me, for
你
me
你
to
对我来说
put
实在
this
是
above
太
you.
重要了。然后就这些放在我面前的这个诱惑根本就不算什
Does
么。
that make sense?
谢谢您这样来考验我，来给我这样的机会。
Yeah.
Easily to overcome that when the time it's now become challenging.
Okay, I can give you another perspective. If you want another one. We taught this in our self-care course. Those of you
那
who
我
went to the
们
course may
在自我
remember
关爱的课程里面也讲
that
过这个话题。
we had a little mantra.
我们有一个小的
It
mantra，
went like this. I love myself too much
我太爱我自己
to
了，
to give into, and there was a
以至
blank there, and you would have to choose a blank. And so, in other words, what it means is, I have a weakness.
就
There are things that
换句话说，就是我有一个弱
tempt
点。
me, or things like we sometimes pray to Krishna. I have this weakness. Please
有
don't
的
put
时
this
候
in
我
front.
向有时候我
I
向
don't.
Krishna 去祈祷，就是我就
But
Krishna，我有一个
self-care,
弱点，
self-care,
你后面
loving mood was,
然
I
后呢，
think
自我关爱就是，
if I give into this,
如
it's
果
going
我
to
要
have
是放弃了我的这
detrimental,
个弱点，
materially, emotionally, spiritually,
那我如
relationally
果
with
放弃了我的
someone
物质的情
that's
感，
dear
而
to
把
me
它
or I'm
换成
dear to
灵性
them.
的情感，
And I think if I
那
love myself, then I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put myself, I wouldn't do anything that would cause me harm. And this will cause me a
就
lot
是
of harm.
就是
This
OK，
will
我不
ruin
会
so
做
many
任
things
何
in
事
my
情
life.
来伤害我自
So the
己。
idea was I love
我如果做
myself
这
too
件
much
事
to
呢，那
give
它就会
in
非常的
to
伤害我，
that
所以呢，这就
temptation.
不是一个自我关爱的事情，所以
That's
呢，我就不
that's
会这么
another
做。
way you can think.
那这是
I'd
另外
like
一
to
个
do
可以
this.
去
But
思考
no,
的方式。
I cannot do this to myself.
我不能够这样去
I have
对
too
待
much
我，
self-respect, self-care,
我必须要
self-love
自
to
我
do
尊重，我必
anything,
须要
to
自
allow
我关爱。
myself to
那
give
所以
in
说
to
呢，
anything
我
that would be
要
destructive.
做一些事情来关爱
If
我
you
自己，
can
来放弃所有
adopt
的
that mentality,
事情。如果我们要
that
是有
can
这样的
protect you
心
from
态，
anything.
那么就可
Like
以
there's nothing in the
关
world,
照我们在很多
even
方
you
面的选
want it,
择。
it's just like, no,
即便是有
I'm
时候
not
我们
gonna
想要这个东
do
西，
it. I'm not
但是呢，
gonna.
我们就会在想，因
And
为
like
这个对我
sometimes
们是有伤害
we
的，所以呢，不
see
能
a
要它。
man is married, nice marriage, everything's good. And then one
就
day he
是
runs off with another woman.
婚姻，
And
比如说
everybody
在
just,
婚姻里面，你有
and
这
all
个
his friends
新
or
的伴侣，然后有一
relatives are
天呢，
telling him it's
你
just the
见到
wrong
了另
thing.
外一位女子。
My daughter was watching something last night. She goes,
昨天
you
晚
got
上
to
我女
see
儿
this.
就
Like, what
在
is
在
it?
看了一个
It's
什
a
么东西，
30-year-old Indian boy who fell in love with a
是
60-year-old American
是
woman.
是一个
And
30 岁
she
的印度男
flies
孩
into
向
India to meet
60
him.
岁
And
的
of
美
course,
国
his
女
parents
人
think
示
he's
爱。
crazy, which
那
he
当然，
is.
他的
And the
家
whole
长是
drama, like real,
就觉得
what do
这
they
个
call
也
that?
实
Real
在是太戏剧性了。
reality, reality TV. And so they documented this
真事，
60-year-old woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, and he's Indian. So, you
对，
can get a
这是
blonde hair, blue eyed woman, it doesn't matter. He's twice as old, take it. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking,
那当我在看到这个60岁的女人跟30
this
岁
is what
的，
infatuation does. It
我
turns
就在
off.
觉得，
I mean, everybody can see this. It's not a good idea.
那就会让
It
所有人
turns
都
off
会
your
觉得这并不
intelligence.
是一个好主意。这
So
么
sometimes our intelligence gets shut down. We become infatuated. But if we have self-love, we can protect ourselves and say, I'll never do something stupid that would be
对，
harmful
但
to
是
me.
呢，就这个电视
Even
节
if
目
I
有的时
want
候
to
呢，就
do
会
it,
让
even if
我
I'm
们大跌眼
attracted,
镜。
even if I'm
但是呢，当
weak,
我们
and
看
I
到
seemingly
这样
can't
的
give it
电
up,
视
I
节目
won't
的
do
时候，
it.
它其实是会
If
给我
I
们
have
悄
that
悄
kind
的
of,
警钟，会让
if
我
I
们
care
觉得，
enough about
哎呀，
myself.
我如果要是非常的爱我自己的话，那我不会去
It's
做
like,
这
I
样的事
want to
情。
do it, I'd love to do it, but I'm not going to. And another thought I have,
那还有另外一个想
I've
法，
been
我
thinking
就
about this lately.
嗯，
I've
我最
actually
近在
thought
想
it
这
about my whole life, basically, but I've been thinking about it lately.
我最近在想，
Whatever you would want, or whatever you're tempted to, or whatever that
无
weakness
论
is,
无论你想做什么，或者无论
you've
你有
been
什么样
dealing
的
with
做，
that forever.
我们其实
Not
并不
something
需要
new.
每天都去处理它。
And it's gotten you here. Now you're devoted. So that's like
因为
step
现在呢，你已经是一位奉献者了，
1. So
神把
now
你指
again,
引这里。
after engaging it for unlimited numbers of lifetimes, to keep
那
engaging it doesn't make sense.
就是当我们在做那些
But
这个有
I've
限的
come to
这个事
finish
情的
my
时候，
business,
那我都
and I'm
已经
still
很多生世都已经在
not
从事这
finishing
个
my
活动，
business.
那么在这一世，我是不是还要再继续的做这件事情呢？
Like the recovering alcoholic who says, "No, I'll just take one drink."
比如说我一
So,
直嗜酒，那我现在我是不是还要再去喝酒
if
呢？
you want to end material existence,
那
you
所以
want to
说，如果
become
我们
purified,
要想结束我们的
then you have to
在
end it.
希望得到
You
净化，
can't be like, get your ankles wet. You actually have
呃，
to end it. At some
那我们
point,
就
you
不
have
能
to
够
end it.
现
Of course,
在
you could get your
想干
ankles
什么
wet
就
and
干
then your
什么。
shins and then your knees. You could do that. But that means coming back again and again and again. And we've already been coming back again and again. So it's like,
但
when
是
do you
就是
want to
如果我
stop
们
coming
要
back?
是继续去做这些不该做的
But
事儿，
whatever
我们也
that
可以，
attachment is, you
但
want
是其
that.
结果就是会让我
You
们一
want
次
that to get
的
in the
回
way
到
of
这
you
个
going
物
back
质
to
的
Krishna. And
存
it's
在
probably
中。
that attachment that
可是我
got
们不想
away,
再回到这个物质的
got in
存
the
在，
way in the last time.
那所以说呢，我们
Most
就要去
likely, right?
做一些事情来结束它。
So I think that's a nice way to think.
但
Those
是我
things
们
which are I'm
一
most
个
attracted
很好
to,
的
which
思
are
考
most
方式，
problematic,
就
obviously
是
were the
那些
things
呢
that
都是一直非
I
常吸引我
from
的
the last time
吸引
that
我
I
的事
couldn't
情，
give up.
但是呢，现在我要去做些事情
I
去
want
妥
to keep
协。
going around and
嗯，
around or what, And if it's like if you're an addict and you want to end it, it's not going to be easier tomorrow. It's just do it now. The easiest thing is just
那
do
就
it
好像
now.
如果要是我
Not
们
tomorrow,
是
not next week.
对某件事情上瘾，
So
但
it's
是我
like,
想结束这个上瘾的状态，
and we
那
think
最
may
好的方
think,
式
well,
并
you
不是
know,
说我
I'll
等
give it
到
up,
明
but
天才
in the
去结束
future,
这个瘾，
that may
而是
be,
我现
you know,
在
that some
最
things
好
will
就
take
立地
time to
成
give
佛
up.
的这种感觉，
Other
就立
things don't
结
take
束
time.
它。
It's just we're procrastinating.
换
And
句
so
话
if we're
说，就是我
procrastinating on
们
something,
不
we give
要
up today.
拖延，我们不要等
We
着
might
以后
think, well, it'd be easier
解
to
决，
give it
在
up
现
next
在立
week.
刻就去解决这个问题。
If it's something that's not really going to be easier to give up next week, next month, the fact is, the longer you wait, the harder it is, because the more you're engaging, and the more the habit is carved in your heart.
如果就是某些事情，其实
You
如
know
果
what
是
it's like,
立
something
的
you
去
don't want
放
to
弃，
do,
比如说
and
明
you
天放弃，下礼
procrastinate
拜
one
放弃，
day.
或者下个月放弃的原因，
I just
是因
got to
为
do
这个
this.
事情它是深深的刻印在我们的内心之中的。
goes on, it gets more
Yeah,
difficult.
more difficult, you suffer more. So one day you just say, okay, let's just do it.
那所以说，我们就应该就做出这样一个决定，好吧？我现在就要去把
So I
它
think
给
that's true for us. Sometimes we say to ourselves, I know
有
I
的时候
should
我
do
们会
this,
在
I
想
know I
着
need
说，
to
哎
do
呀，我
this.
知道我应该做这件事儿，我应
If
该
I
做
were
那件
coaching you,
事。
I would just say, so when are you going to start? Let's get out your
但
get
是
out
呢，
your
但是我虽然
calendar
会心里
and
面
write
知
the
道，
date
我
that you're going to
没
do.
有开始去做
That's
它，
what we have to do with ourselves.
但是呢，我们应该做的事情就是现在就开始
I
做
know
了。
I need to stop doing this. I know I need to
我
start.
知道我
Okay,
应该
write it down in the calendar. No, no, I don't want to write it down. Okay, well, but you didn't write it down in your last life. That's why you're here. So
那所以说
you
后来就
want
说，
to
后来
you
我
want to
提醒
do
我
it,
就要把它
then
写
do it.
下来，我不能再做它。
It's important.
但是
then do it.
我们因为上一世我们就没有把它记录
If
下来，
you
不能
don't
再
do it, you won't be
这
happy.
一世我们才会来到这儿。
I'll be happy if I don't do it. No, it's the other way. You'll be
那
happy if
有
you
的时候
do
我
it.
也会在
Be
写，
unhappy if you
如
don't
果
do
我
it.
是
Maybe
不
you
做
feel
它
more
的话呢，我
comfortable
就会开
if you
心。
don't do it.
那这也是一个处理它
You'll
的
be
方式。
happy.
因为如果我是不
Right?
做它，我会变得更开心。
So I think it's extremely important to think like
但
this.
是我觉得，
Because
这
otherwise,
样
what
的思考
you know
方
what's
式
really
是
happening
非
if we
常
don't
重
think
要
like
的。
this? The mind is just controlling us. That's
那
all
那
it's
否
doing.
则的话
I
呢，
mean,
如果
just
我们要是
to
都不知道在
boil it
发
down to
生
the
什么，
simplest
然后呢，我
understanding,
们就一直
it's
让
just the
它在这儿
mind
熬煮
deciding
的话，那
I'm gonna direct my life or my mind is. When I'm procrastinating, I'm not in control. My
比
mind
如
is.
说我就在想，我不想控制我自己的心
I'm
念，我
giving
那么
in.
拖
My
延着，
mind is in
我就
control,
让
not
一直这
me.
么拖着。
What a way to live. I
那
haven't
我
make any
该怎么
progress.
办
You
呢？
definitely won't be happy.
那如果要是我一直在
It's
拖延的状态下
easier,
的话，什么
seemingly,
事都不会
but in
发
the long
生。
run, it's harder. And another thought that I have, and I think
另外一
maybe this is
个想法就
the
是，
most powerful thought. Think about your life, what you need to do, and think about yourself when you're getting ready to die, and you get to look back at your life and see what you did. Wouldn't you want to look back at your life and say, I controlled this, I did this, I
就
let
是
go of
我
that,
们再
I
想一想，
did
就是当
that.
我们死的时候，
That'd
如
be
果我
like a great way
能
to
够归
die,
宿一
to
下我
not look
们在
back on
这
our
一
life. Why
世
didn't
所
I
做
do
的所
that?
有
I
这些
should have
事
done
情，
that.
然
If I
后
would have done
会
that
不
again,
会
I
在
bet
想，
this is,
就
you
是
know
我
like
做
that,
这件事当时要这么做的话，是不是会更好呢？
wouldn't it? So for the sake of your future self on your
真的，
deathbed,
为了
whatever
我
you
们
need to
在死
do,
亡的那
do
一
it
刻，
so that
在
when
想
you
着我
die, you
们
look
将来
back
的
and
那
give
个自
yourself a
己
big
的话，
yes. I did
那
it.
我们其实就应该在想着现
Otherwise,
在
you're
就应
gonna
该做一些
be
不会
beating
让我们
yourself up,
到时候再后悔的事
quite
情，
unhappy with yourself,
我们就应
right?
该让自己还是挺满意于自己
I
的
want to
这
be
种。
on my deathbed and look back and say, yes, I did it. I'm not dying with my music in me. I fulfilled my intentions. They weren't just, I didn't just talk about them. You know, some people talk about what they're going to do, but they never do it.
就是当我
That's kind
们
of
在
what it
死
is.
亡的那一刻，在想着所有这个事情的时候，
Doesn't
不会
get
后悔。
past the
在
talking
我之
stage.
前没有做这件事情，其实有很
You
多
don't
人
want
他
to
一直
die
在
like
讲
that.
着我要做这个
Then
做
I
那
should
个，
have done that.
但是他
Why
就
didn't
一
I
直不
do that?
做。
Beat yourself up on your deathbed.
所以呢，我们可以去冥想自
Then you
己
have to
躺
take birth again to try to do it.
那一刻的时候那个状态。
Wow. That is- Yes.
Can't go back.
with fear, on a like in any situation to be able to practice be that way. But I find that when I have the time and space, let's say, to read or to hear, that helps kind of situate the mind. I don't know. I'm just saying that sometimes I feel like even when you create the space for chanting, internally, externally, things like that, all like it just feels sometimes like you're losing that. Like you get in that space, it's very subtle. It's very subtle how the mind, and then all of a sudden you didn't even realize that you were somewhere else for the thinking Krishna or something like that. Like you catch yourself sometimes in I don't know, this subtle. I guess how do we know? How do we know when we're kind of losing ourselves? How do we catch ourselves in those moments of weakness? Sometimes we're not always aware. How do we get more aware?
I could tell you,
我可以告诉你，
well, self-awareness
自我觉知
comes
来自于
when we're trying to improve something.
当我们努力的要去证实
The more we want to improve it, the
某事
more
儿的
it's
时候，
necessary to be self-aware.
那我们越想
Otherwise,
去证
if
实
you wanted to
它，
know
也就越有必
until
要
it's
要
too
让
late,
自己
that
有
we
自我
did it
觉知，
wrong or we weren't
因为我
conscious
们会
enough.
意识到我们在
So
知觉中去做对的事
that's
情，
just
还
what
是
I
做
found in my life and in general,
那
what
呃
I've observed.
我在我的生活中
Nothing
我发现，
is
或者是
achievable
通过我的观
until
察，
there's a desire a pretty strong desire to achieve it.
就是任何事情，
Because
如果我们
as
要是
if
想
you
要
don't
达到
want
这个程
something, it
度，
doesn't
我们必
resonate.
须要有非常强烈的愿望去
Have you
做
ever
到它。
become like all of a sudden interested in something that you weren't interested in? And now you're like reading all the books on it, watching all the
就
YouTube
是你有没
videos.
有这样的体
You
验？就是
totally
其实
focus.
一直对
You
某
don't
事儿
get
都
tired.
不感兴趣，但突然之间你就对这个事情感兴趣了，然后你就会读所有的相关的书籍，
Because now it's relevant.
因为现在变得相关
How
了。
relevant is it
那
for
这个
you to
相
be
关
better?
在于
And
相
to
关性
that
就使得我
degree,
们
you
就
become
会去
aware
在乎，
of when you're
然后
not.
呢，我们就会真正的去花心思去做这个事情。
And I would start with figuring out how to understand how to make the things which are really important to me. Because just
那
because
么
it's
当
important
我
doesn't
努
mean
力
it's
的去要
important.
了
I
解这
understand
个
it's
事情
important, but
为什
to
么
feel
对
it.
我非常重要的时候，
I need to feel it, and then I
那
do
我就必须要去感知到它，
it.
必须要
It's
真正的
gotta
了
be
解
emotional.
这个东西对我来说是非常非常重要的，我需要
I'll
对它
give
有
you an
情
example.
动。我给你个例子，
I once saw a devotee who was very humble. You could
比如
just
说呢，我
see
见到了一位奉献者，这位奉献者
by
非常的
the
卑，
way he was, by the way he looked, the way he walked, everything about
通
him.
过他的行，
It
他的
emanated
他
lots
的
of
这个
humility.
就是他的行为
And
啊，
it
他
was
的
so
他的生活
intense
呀，他
that I
展
was
现了他
deeply
的谦卑。
affected by it.
那所以呢，我就非常
And
深
I
的
was
受
affected
影
by it to
响。
the point where I never had, I mean, I always knew that humility is important, but I never had like this burning desire to be
然后呢，
humble.
虽然说我一直都觉得
Not
谦卑非常的
normal
重要，但是
desire.
当我得到他的影响之后，我就非常
After
有
I
这种
saw
强烈
him,
的内心的
I
灼烧的
got
愿
the
望，为了要
desire.
让他那样去
And
变得谦
some of
卑。
it, I don't know how much, but I got a little bit more than I ever had. And at that point, I could see all the ways I wasn't being humble. And I
然后呢，
became very
我有
interested
一
in
刻，我
pursuing
发现
it,
我
learning about it,
没有那么的
understanding it,
谦卑，
and being conscious of my own lack of it.
然后呢，我就开始
Before
去
that,
觉知的去意识到我自己的行动行
practically
为，
zero,
但是在这件事
practically
之前
zero
是
reflection on
没有
humility
那
in
么
my
多
life.
的去觉知到我自己的
I
行
wasn't
为的。
interested in it. It wasn't important. I thought I was interested and I thought it was important, but it was just an idea.
因为有的时候我自己觉得我特别的
If I
重
say
要，
to all of you, is humility important? You'll say yes.
就
As
比如我
a
对你说
as a
谦卑是非常
philosophical
重要
point,
的，
yes, it's
但大家都
important.
说对对对，其实谦
But
卑
is
的
it
确很重
important to
要，但
you?
这只
That's a
是
different question,
存在于哲
right?
学的层面。
Like you learn so many things.
真的，比如说你们大
And
家
the
学了很多，
question is, are those things that you're learning important to
但是
you?
这个
Not
问
just
题是，
that they're
就
important in
是你
general
们
as
所
important.
学到的这些东西
You know
对于
what
你
I'm
来说
saying?
很重
Yeah,
要，
it's important.
那
Oh, it's
并不
important.
是对大
Well,
众来
not
说很
really.
重要。
Okay. So I guess you're not going to be self-aware
对，
in terms of your humility or whatever it is that's important until it becomes important to you. Then you
就
become
是当我们真正
and the
的意
more
识
aware you are, the more you
面
catch
对的
yourself.
重要
You
性的
catch
时候，
yourself
这会儿
fast.
我们才能够由心而
When
发，
we
去
were
意识到，
doing japa retreats and
而不
japa
仅仅
workshops,
是
one of the
从
things
所
we
学的理
noticed
念
and
上去
devotees
理解。当我
often
们在
said this,
进修营的时候，
they used to
我们
chant their rounds and be
有
just
些人
not focused and they
就有些念
chant
者
for like
他
an
一
hour
边
before
来
they
念
realized
诵，
that
然
they
后呢，
hadn't even heard one
边
mantra yet. They
一
chant for
边
an
就是他好
hour
像感觉还是
but
非
they
常专注
realized
地
that they
念
weren't
诵，
focused.
但是在念
And
诵了1
after
个
the
小时
japa
之后，他
retreat,
并没
they
有真正
catch
的意识到
themselves
他
within 60
的
seconds.
这个注意力是专注在
They
一
were
个
so
mantra 上
aware.
的。但是就在我们的
Because
这个家
now
庭
after they went to the
中，
retreat,
通过这样的念诵
their
以后，
desire,
他就意
they
识到
realized how important it was to
专
improve,
注
and
在
their
了这个
desire to improve
mantra 上。
increased to the point that they just would catch themselves. They wouldn't allow themselves.
所以，当
Interesting.
我们越来越觉知的时候，我们就会抓住自己的状态，然后呢，也不会允许自己处在那样的状态下了。
Can you see if I'm in that? I think she had me over here.
I checked your
Where did Janaki? In the silver suitcase is all the mantra, all the cards, job affirmation cards. Yes.
I was watching some of your videos. One was much dedicated to the movement than what you witness in Islam. What you be doing nowadays that people are doing back then.
What are you not doing that we were doing? Well, I think
我觉得
one of the reasons, there were 2 reasons, big reasons that it was different. One, the Prabhupada was here. And about 80–90% of the movement were brahmacharis, brahmacharinis living in the
就是
temple.
在这个运动早期的
Another
时候，上
reason
爸爸
was
还在，
the
而且呢，
movement
我
was
们
young, so it was kind of
99
like
个人
depending
是
on us.
brahmachari 和
Like now,
brahmacharini，
today,
而且呢，当
you
时呢，我们
know,
也
if
很
you don't do
轻，
any great service, there's already,
可
you
是
know, almost 1,000 temples.
可
But
是现在
when I
呢，
would
就是
join,
我
there were
们
about
没有办
20
法去做
temples.
很多大的服务的
So
原
if we
因，
didn't do
是我们现在
anything,
已
there
经
was
有
no
了成
international
千上万
sisters.
座
So we
庙
were
了，
we were
就是很多
forced
事情已
in
经
a
做完了。
sense, you
那
know,
当时
to
在
be in
早
a
期的时候，我
spirit of
们
like
强迫
this
着
is
要去做很多的事
important,
情，
you need to do it.
因
If
因
you
为当时我
can't
就觉得这个很重要，所以呢，我们必须要
feel
去
that
做。
sense of importance, that this movement is important, and that
所以呢，如果我们有更
my
大的
spiritual
这种
advancement
重
is
要
going to
感，
affect
我们就觉
everything.
得这个运动是非常非常重要
Not
的。
just about whether I want to be Krishna conscious
当
or
时
not.
呢，并不是说
If
是
I
是
am
否我
Krishna
愿意让
conscious,
自己成为
it's
Krishna
going to
知
help
觉，
a lot of
我
other
自己是
people.
否有
And
Krishna
so
知觉。
if we can kind of key into that, like, okay, there's 1,000 temples, but there could be 10,000 or
但是
100,000.
我们现在觉得
And
OK， 好，上千
if
座的
I
庙，但是
am
是有上万座的
advancing
庙，
more, I'm going to have a much greater effect on the people that I contact. And so there was, you know, we had
那我
the sense of this has to spread quickly because the
就
world's
是我们必
going
须
to
要有一
hell.
种责任感，我们必须要有一种感觉，要觉
And
得
it's
这个
definitely
运动
going to
要
hell
传
all
播
the
得更
time,
快一些，
maybe
所以呢，
more
可能我
quickly
们
now
就
than
会变
ever.
得更加的积极。
So that sense of let us do something, which was very much Prabhupada's sense.
但是呢，这就是当时
That
说
was
帕帕
the
他
reason
的
it was-
他的这种感觉，他的这种责任感。
There's one away, it's not loved. It presses in from the outside in. I have a suitcase that's never locked. And
我有
every
一
time I ask someone to open it, they always say, how
手
to
提箱，
open
我就是我有一
it.
个
100% of the time.
箱子，
I
然后这
think it's
箱子呢
because
永远都
trying to
锁
push
不
it
上，
out, and push it in.
然后呢，它可以从
If you don't know the combination on a devotee suitcase, it's one away. Right? Is that true? And so you don't have to remember it. Yeah. He wants me to advertise these wonderful
真的
cards.
是太
Okay.
抱歉了。
These are job affirmations on
嗯，
cards.
这个呢是我们在卡片上
Each
做
card
的
has a picture.
宣言。
You want to see it?
大家想看看 Japa 的宣言是什么
You
吗？
can see it anyway, even if you don't want to. The only thing is you need a lesson. You need to take a lesson on how to open them. And I still haven't learned. You're supposed to
就
come out
是
the
就是
bottom.
这个
I
卡
don't know
片
how
的
to
盒
open
子
this.
特别难开，我到现在为止我还在学着怎么开这个
The
盒
way to
子。
open it
我们应该给
without
大家上个
learning.
课，来训练大家
Anyway,
怎么开这
there's
个盒子。
20 affirmations, 20 cards.
那然后
And
呢，在
you
这里面有
hold
20张
many
卡
like
片，
this.
然后20个宣
You
言，
can
来告诉
open it.
我们
Okay.
如何去念诵关于念诵的宣言。
I forgot how to open it.
我忘了
Okay.
怎么开这个盒子了。
You open the top with your fingers. Amazing. Okay. These are what you meditate on when you chant japa.
在这个宣言里
So
面
your
呢，就告诉
mind
你
doesn't go
在念
crazy.
诵的时候你怎么去冥想。
I wrote a book called Japa Affirmations, which we have here on the table.
我还写了一本书，是关于 Japa 宣
And
言的
so
书，这本书就
we
在
made
桌
all
上
the。affirmations into cards.
那我们呢就把所有的这些宣言写在了
Like
卡
that.
片上，就像这
Each
样一样。
affirmation is a card.
每一个宣
And
言
it
上都在一个
explains
卡
it on the
片上。
back. So when you chant japa, you can just
那么当你
look
在
at it if you
诵
like.
Japa 的时候呢，如果你要愿意，就
Put
可
it
以
in your
看这
pocket.
卡片上的宣言。
It's plastic.
然
So
后这
when
个
you're chanting
是
and
塑
crying,
料。
cry and get them wet, no problem.
那如果是当你在念诵的时候哭也是没问题的。
I get to chant, I want to chant, I love to chant.
然后呢，我要念诵，我喜欢
Anyways,
想
if
念
you're
诵，
interested,
我爱念诵。
they're $12.
这套卡片是$12。
We have other books and we have USB sticks with classes and kirtans and guided meditations and so forth.
然后还有好多的关于
So,
Kirtan 关于课程的
and we have T-shirts.
一些 USB 啊，还有一些这个书籍啊什么的，还有
We have
T-shirt。
T-shirts. We have more T-shirts in this. There's a bag. Did you get that bag, Jonathan? The blue bag. We have more T-shirts. Okay. Anything else? Yes. You have a what? Preteen. What to do with it? Prevent her from becoming a teenager, and you'll have no problem. Well, you could do what my wife and I did. We just moved to Mayapur. And my daughter,
我的女
we
儿，
moved to Mayapur when she was
我的女儿在
like 9 or 10.
9岁或10岁的时候呢，就
That
移
age,
居
when
到
she
了
became a
玛雅。
teenager, she was in Mayapur.
那所以呢，就是在一个
I'll
少
tell you
女
what
年
my
代，
wife
我
says,
的女儿是住
and
在
I
玛雅，
agree totally.
然后我和我的妻子，我
As
们俩人
with
就
everything, association is
达成了共识。
what association is what molds us into who we are. And so
就是联谊是非常非常重要的。
the best thing for our children is to have the association of other
对
children
说呢，对于孩子，他就需要和其他
spiritually
孩子有
inclined.
这种联谊，需要有
Yeah.
灵性的
Peer
连接。
pressure.
灵性的孩子，
I live in Alachua, where Alachua has
我居住在美国的
in the
Alachua，
early
在
days of Alachua
在
in the
早期的
80s,
时候，
many, many
在
Prabhupada
80年代
disciples.
的时候，在那儿呢还有很多的十二帕巴的门徒，
150 Prabhupada disciples.
有150 位
So
十二
they
帕巴。
moved there and their kids moved there, or they made
然后呢，
kids
他
when they
们
moved there.
他们居住在 Alachua，
And
然后都居住在那里，所以孩子们也
and
都
now their kids have kids.
然后呢，当这些
Many of
孩
my
子
godbrothers are
自己生了孩子
grandparents.
以后，也就是说我的神兄
I'm
弟
a
们都变
grandparent
成
also.
了爷爷奶奶
That's what
们，
happens when you get this old. You know, so
所以呢，他们
and
就可以
so
他们
many
的
of these kids have been raised in a very good environment. And they're very good devotees.
那所以呢，这些
And
孩子们
that's
他们就
really,
在
it's
很好
quite
的环境下
common that
长大，
kids are
并且呢
into
也
books.
能够
That's
成为
kind
很
of
好的贡
normal
献
there.
者。
And
那
so
所以
you
在
want
这
to fit
种
in what's
难的
normal, and that's normal.
环境，
Kirtans and they have,
所以在
you
那
know,
儿就会有非常自然的
groups
kirtan
every
啊
week
讲
and they
课
have
呀，然
a
后呢会
dance
每
class
一位的每周的
and
小
they
联谊啊、舞
participate
蹈
in
课
organizing
呀，
festivals. So
安排很
association
好
is,
的节日。
you know, you give them association at home and then they go out in the world and get association. So if
那
their
所以我们要
friends
是
are Krishna
在他们很
consciousness,
好的联谊之后呢，他们到世界会把
your
他们的
example
对这个
is
世
also
界。
important. My wife's philosophy was take them
我
to
妻
the
子
holy
的
dams
哲
as
学
much as
就是
possible.
就是把
That
孩
was
子
her
给
full
送
philosophy.
到
So
圣
my
地去，
daughter,
让他们在
by
那
the
生活。
time she was 9, I think she'd been in India 3 times.
然后呢，当我的
Okay.
女儿在9岁的时候
She
呢，
picked
就
up
去
on it.
了印度，
So, you know,
很好的生活。
but you know that joke I had, before I had kids, I had one theory about raising children. And now I have 5 kids and I have 5 theories on raising children.
就是没有这样一个笑话哈，就是在我有
One
孩子
size
之
fits
前，
all.
我可能有一种要养孩子的理
Right.
论，但是呢，等我有了5个孩子之后呢，我可能就有了5个孩子，就是有
Yeah.
5个的养孩子的理论了。
Peer association is everything.
比如说我们有和同伴的联谊啊，还有等等所有的一切。
You know, you have a
大家
little problem here,
我们
but
这
I
儿有
guess
一个
it's the same
题，
problem in India now. It's the
但是我想
outside
在印度
culture.
也有同样的问题。
Yeah, you know, you can be anywhere and the culture is coming in through social media.
因为就是在任何一个地方，
All about
然后
who
呢
you are,
都会受
what
到
you look
文
like, how
化
much
的
money you have,
社
and all
交
that. So we have to teach our
社
children
交
that
媒体的影响。
to see through that. It's not that important. You know what they say, your identity is where you
你
live,
嗯，
what you dress, what
就
kind
是
of clothes you have,
你的身份表现在你生活在哪里，你穿成什么样的
what
衣
you
服，
have,
或者
what
你有什么
job
样的
you have. It's all your
你
identity. So what happens when you
或者
lose
什
your
么样
job
的生活，
and you
你
lose your
有什么样的工
house
作，
and you lose your things? You have no identity. Like that's
但
weird.
是如果你要是失去了所有这一切之后呢，
Right.
你就没有身份了，身份也失去
So I
了。
think that's important for them to learn. And then, you know, hope for the
然
best.
后
You know, another thing is try to give them a taste for bhakti.
对吧？另外一件事情，关于养孩子重要的就是要
This
让孩
carries
子
them throughout their life. Their attachment to Krishna is everything.
让孩子
Somehow
要
get your
便于
children
对
attached to
以
Krishna
及和
and
水
the
Krishna 相
devotees
关的一切，
and devotional service somehow.
要让他们要有这
So
种
we
灵
can-
氛围、奉爱的氛围。这问题是关于养孩子的问题。
The Prabhupada books in my home, like Krishna book, all the small books that I was buying from top of temple, and I was putting in my living room table, you know. And the girls were summertime, they have a time, they were reading that.
Nice.
So that's how Tanvi, my older daughter, become really.
Oh, you want to
是
hear
一个
something funny?
那我听到一些
There was a devotee who had a book.
有位奉献
It
者，
was
他
the
有
kind
本
of
书，
book that it was considered maybe we shouldn't read it because it's controversial. It was-
那本书呢，其实
It
它跟
wasn't
很
really
多
controversial,
相
but
背离的，所以呢，我
nobody
们
would
不
read it. It was a really good book.
书。
So one
That's
devotee
right.
wanted to get another devotee to read it. And he
但是呢，
said,
有一位奉献者，他就让
"When you
另外一
read
位
this
奉献
book, I
者
want you to tell me if you think there's anything wrong with it."
他说呢，你看看这本书，看这本书
Because
呢
he
有
knew this person would
不
never
理
read the
论，
book on his own. If he said, "Why don't you
所以
read the book? It's a good book." He said, "I think there's something wrong. Could you find anything wrong? Would you read it?" And then he read it. So, you know, something like that. Give it to your daughter and say, ask, I don't know.
就是当我们在读这个书的时候，有的时候呢，就不要
Some
自己
people
去，
say there's something wrong with this book. You read it and tell me.
因为呢，就
Okay.
是当有人说这本书有问题的时候呢，
Time
我们就不要自己去读。
And then I kept it in the living room. Sometime in the weekend, I was reading and living there. And there were at that time there was no Gujarati book, only English. So I was buying English, I was reading English books. Now I have so much plenty of Gujarati books. So they were reading all those things, you know. And then we become like more interested in. So she bought the whole Bhagavatam set,
Nice.
and she started to read that, and that's how I thought that they inspired little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe what they could do is you get a group of
也许
kids
可
and
能
have like a
就是
Bhagavad
大
Gita
家
class
对于
every
在
week.
读书的时候呢，就是
Because if, you
可
know,
以
obviously, if you want
比
them
如
to
说一
follow
群
Krishna
孩子在一
consciousness, they have to
起
understand
来
what it
一起
is
读《薄伽梵歌》，
and why they should follow it.
然后
Having
呢，跟他
regular
们讨论
classes
一下，
is
然后
just
读一
really
读，就是
to
为
get
什么
them
他
to
们要
read.
遵循这个《薄伽梵歌》里面
Do
的
kids read
道理
anymore?
呢？
Nowadays
do
they
that?
don't see it, or that's the problem.
That out of fashion or something like reading is like
那现在这些
that's
孩子
so
们就是
80s
还
or
在一起
something.
读呢，是或者不读
You're
了，然后
reading a book, oh, it's so 80s.
被其所吸引了。
Okay. I heard a rumor prasadam is ready, but you don't want to eat, right? Because it's so much nicer. Yes.
对，沙旦已经差不多准备好了。
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Like I read Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita several times.
Mm,
And
good.
I understood Krishna, the final authority. We get everything is the Krishna.
Yeah.
Nothing greater, nothing bigger than him. But my problem is that I remain all time try to remain Krishna conscious. But whenever I turn my favorite Krishna portrait in many, many years. But every time for a while I become determinated. And so for a while I chant consciousness. But then after some time my mind diverts to social activities, things and things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I try hard, but I cannot 100% succeed. So any debate?
Yeah. Tomorrow we're going to talk about it and Sunday.
明
It
天
will
还有
take 2 days to
7
answer that
天，
question.
我们都会讲相关的话题。
I think I already answered it earlier,
那我想我刚才已经回答
but
了，
I can say one more thing.
但是我想再讲多一点。
When devotees do deity worship,
当奉献者在进行
I've
神像
never
的
heard a devotee ask this question.
我
When
从来
I
没
do
有
deity
过
worship,
奉
my
献
mind
者
is distracted. Can you tell me how to focus? I've
我从
never
来没
heard
有
that
在
question.
哪个奉献者问过一个问题，就
I
当我
don't
在做
think I
这个
ever
礼拜
will.
的时候，我的脑子就分神了。
Why
你
is
能不能
that?
我怎么让我能专注？
Because when we do deity worship,
为什么呢？
we're
因为当我
very
们在讲
conscious that that's
崇拜的
Krishna.
时候，我们非常
It
非常
was-
的
it's
专
just
注
not,
于对 Krishna
it's
的
just
知觉，
very
因为 Krishna 他非
out of
常的
sync, awkward to be distracted while you're touching Krishna, you're breathing, you're
呃
bathing. It's
那
just
因
like
为就是当你在为 Krishna 的
unnatural to be,
时候，当你在
to be
触碰他，
thinking
当你
about,
在为他穿衣
oh,
服
I have
的
to go shopping
很
today.
难，你的脑子
Oh,
里
I
面
have to
想
buy
别的
the
事儿很难，
bananas or
人
oranges.
在服务 Krishna 一边
Oh,
在想，哎呀，
sorry,
今天我要
Krishna.
去买东西，
We
我要去做
just
这个
naturally
那
don't
个。
think that because we are conscious. This is Krishna.
因为当时呢，我们
So
是在
we're
服
not
务着，
conscious the holy name is
我
Krishna.
们在知觉着 Krishna，
That's
但是呢，
what
我
it is.
们没有像知觉
The holy
Krishna
name is a deity,
神像
but
那
the
样
deity
去
is made
知
of
觉着
sound.
Krishna 的圣名。
And
但
you
是
have a
Krishna
deity.
的
Every
圣
time
名
you
它
say
就
Hare
是
Krishna,
像。
that's your deity. That's Krishna is
所以呢，
showing
当我们
up.
在念诵 Hare Krishna
Okay.
圣名的时候，
So
这
now
个
Hare Krishna, so give that
Krishna
Krishna your
的圣名，
attention.
它就是我们正在崇拜
That's
的
your
神像。
deity, personal deity. So the more we realize Krishna
那
is
所以呢，
there,
我们
then
越
more
多的意
our
识到，当
chanting
我
will
们
be like
圣
deity
名的
worship.
时候，Krishna 是在那儿的时候，我们就越多的会专注
All
在
right, we
Krishna
get
的
to
圣
take
名的念
prasadam.
头。
Is that right?
现在大家可以去拿菩萨了，对吧？
So I wanted to tell everyone. Yeah, to end the program, I know Maharaj talked a little bit about japa meditation. So I just wanted to again that we're going to have a special program temple Sunday. Day japa retreat. If you don't know what japa is, mantra meditation. Please And it's just very simple to learn.